Good evening, family. Thank you for joining us once again this morning. We looked at the miracle of God's timing as it pertained to the life of Saul and even our own life. And today I want to talk about the miracle of God's wisdom, or the miracle of God's purpose and plan. And we're going to be looking at Judges chapter 14, verse 1 through 5. Judges chapter 14, I'm sorry, verses 1 through 4, 1 through 4. And so if you have your Bibles, pull that out or just take some notes right now. And we're going to be looking, like I said, at the life of Samson and the miracle of God's wisdom. And here's what it says. It says, one day, when Samson was in Timnah, one of the Philistine women caught his eye. So already, if we're reading this, we're reading Torah, right? You and I, let's pretend we're reading Torah, that we are part of Israel. We're Jewish people. And Philistines, they were the enemies of Israelites, right? Like they hated each other. They were going to war with one another. And so here is Samson, who has been called by God, right? God said, hey, he came to his parents and they let him know that Samson would be set apart, that he would be a Nazarite unto the Lord. And yet here is Samson, a woman catches his eye, and it happens to be a Philistine woman. So when he returned home, he told his father and mother, a young Philistine woman in Timnah caught my eye. I want to marry her. Get her for me, he tells his parents. Verse 3, his father and mother objected. Isn't there even one woman, right, in the tribe of all of Israel that you could marry? They asked, why must you go to the pagan Philistines to find a wife? But Samson told his father, get her for me because she looks good to me. I want to pause right here and I want to talk about the miracle of God's wisdom and the miracle of God's plan. Maybe you can relate with the story of Samson. Maybe you can relate with Samson's parents, right? Are there any parents right now that are listening where you are thinking, why are you living like this? Why are you choosing that person to date? Right? Like, why are you going down this path? Why are you choosing that career? Why are you hanging out with those people? Of all the people, right? Samson's parents ask him that you could marry. Like, why a Philistine? They believe in pagan gods. They're against our own people. I mean, we're enemies with each other. Why are you doing this, Samson? And it's hard, right? Maybe you're not a parent, but just somebody that you love, a friend. Maybe it's a friend right now that you don't understand what they're doing and why they're living the way they're living. Maybe it's a family member. Maybe it's a coworker. Maybe you're the Samson, right? Maybe you're Samson right now. You're going out, you're doing your thing, and your own family, they don't understand you. Your parents don't understand, your friends, and people are questioning you, and they're doubting what you're doing with your life. And so I want us to lock into the miracle of God's wisdom, the miracle of God's plan, and really us trusting God's plan and trusting God's wisdom. And here's the next key that just blew me away. Check out verse 4, Judges chapter 14. We just read verses 1 through 3. And his parents are like, why? Can't you marry somebody that, that's a good girl within our own kind of community, our own ethnicity, our own religious background? Verse 4, check out this. Judges says this, his father and mother didn't realize the Lord was at work in this. Somebody say, in this, that the Lord was at work in this, that even though Samson wanted to marry a girl who the Philistines, right? That was part of the Philistine community, who they worship the pagans, who they are the enemy people, that they didn't realize that the Lord was working in this, creating an opportunity to work against the Philistines who had ruled over Israel at that time. Once again, God works all things together for good. Right? To them that love the Lord and are called according to his purpose. Right now, you might be in a situation where you don't understand that the person you love or the people that you love, the choices that they're making, the decisions, their desires, their wants. Like, why do you want to do that? Why do you want to be with that person? And all the while, God is using this as an opportunity. All the while, the Lord is at work in this. Or maybe you're right now, you can relate with Samson. And maybe you're doing some things and people are questioning you and doubting you, and you don't even know. Maybe you just feel like, man, I don't even know why. I don't know why. I'm attracted to that Philistine woman, right? And all the while, God is at work in it because it's God's wisdom. God doesn't see the way we see things. And remember, like I said this morning, God knows the end from the beginning. God sees the entire scope of time and history and all of human history. And so while in our eyes and his parents' eyes, rightfully so, they should be worried. I mean, they're parents. That's what you're supposed to do. You should question the people that you love and say, hey, I don't see that this is good for you. You might be going down a track that is not the right track. I think we should do those things. However, God was going to use this moment that appeared to be a disadvantage so that it could be advantageous for the people of Israel. And God would use this to work in Samson's life. So family, the miracle of God's wisdom is this. We just don't know. We just don't know how God is working things out. But overall, right, above all, you and I should trust God's wisdom, God's plan. We got to continue to trust him, continue to surrender, like surrender the people that we love, surrender our kids, surrender, our family members. We can't force anybody to do anything that they don't want to do, but we can trust God's purpose and plan. That's it for tonight. God bless you. Elder Joe will be leading us tomorrow.